when the Panthers have the ball, maybe that's when you turn your TV off. P.J. Walker's still the quarterback, even though it looked like Baker Mayfield would get a chance again because Walker got yanked at halftime of that 35-0 at the time, final score of 42-21. But, hey, they came in, they scored points with Baker Mayfield. That's what made me think they're going to give Baker Mayfield another opportunity. Nope. P.J. Walker's starting again tonight. D'Onta Foreman has been pretty good post Christian McCaffrey trade. And what do you expect to see from their offense when we get a chance tonight to scrutinize it in a standalone setting?
Well, I think the first thing is just like with the P.J. Walker conversation, I'm glad they stuck with him. I am. I mean, I think he deserved that at this point. He did beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, if DJ Moore doesn't take his helmet off, they're going to beat the Atlanta Falcons, and he played amazing, and you even talked about it. It's, arguably the greatest throw of the year so far with that touchdown pass. Last week, yeah, it was not good, but, man, it wasn't good by anybody on their team. I mean, again, the defense didn't show up last week in Carolina. They basically were like, oh, wait, we're in a game? Oh, damn, well, we didn't realize it, and it was 35-0 by that point, so that was it. But the offense stunk, too. The offense it's all over the place. I don't know what to expect from the Carolina offense. It's not necessarily that special. The big thing they got going for them is get the ball to DJ Moore at times, and then the run game. And D'Onta Foreman's been kind of the bright spot of that football team to this point. But, like, the Atlanta Falcons, they can play some run defense. The one thing that Dean Pease and Arthur Smith have, again, from that school of Mike Vrabel, is they got some big people. So they're not necessarily, for not a good defense, running the ball is usually not the way to attack Atlanta. So they're going to have to throw the ball and find some ways to make some plays like they did in the fourth quarter. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't think they're going to be able to just overpower Atlanta, again, and I know they had some success in that first matchup, but yeah, it's evaluate PJ Walker, appreciate DJ Moore, who I think if he's on a good team, is a superstar receiver, and we'll see if PJ Walker can establish himself as a guy maybe that can be a starter somewhere or do something like that. That's what I'm kind of, watching for tonight. Just the overall storylines of the Carolina Panthers, I guess.
And another opportunity for interim coach Steve Wilks to do something that will get the attention of David Tepper and make him a candidate for the permanent job. Primetime game, big opportunity. We've seen the Panthers have some bad games in primetime. I think back to a Thursday nighter against the Steelers a few years ago that was a rout. It was horrible. It was awful. It was ugly. It was the year they were doing Amazon's All or Nothing, by the way.
That's right.
And Ron Rivera, the paint peeling off the walls in the locker room when he went after his team for how poorly they played, because they were a pretty good team that year, but not that night. The Steelers completely dismantled them. One last thing, because I've gotten a couple of emails already from people who want clarity on the DJ Moore helmet removal
let's talk about it.
Moment, because it took like a full week to get to the point where we have an answer of what is and isn't allowed.
Well, I mean, and what's amazing is just the NFL seemed to confuse the situation just as much as
it's their
anybody.
fault.
Yeah.
It's the NFL's fault.
Right.
It's Perry Fuel's fault.
Right.
And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's too much tiptoeing around. No, Perry Fuel fueled a fire of misinformation when he was on ESPN's Monday Night Countdown the day after it happened. So let's take it all the way back to the beginning.
Yep.
DJ Moore catches that just incredible missile shot from P.J. Walker. And here it is. They're at their own 38. He rolls out, and he fires it. And it keeps going.
It goes 70
and DJ
in the
Moore,
air. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So there's the helmet off. Okay. Jumps into the stands, comes down, draws a flag. Now, look, there's another guy. 84's got his helmet off. And apparently there was another guy who had a helmet off, too, or otherwise engaged in unsportsmanlike conduct that should have drawn a flag. More on that in a minute. So the flag gets thrown. Obviously, the extra point gets moved back 15 yards, and they miss it, and then they lose in overtime. So DJ Moore's the GOAT. Well, then the word starts to circulate. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Our Terry McCauley planted this idea that once you're beyond the end zone, you can take your helmet off. That the rule only applies in the field of play and in the end zone, which implies that once you're beyond the stripe or out of the end zone, and that's where Moore was. He was on the stripe, but he was beyond the end zone.
Right.
you can take your helmet off without a penalty. And my reaction to that, frankly, was that's nuts.
Yeah.
Because the purpose of the rule is you don't want guys pulling their helmets off and celebrating. It's the Emmitt Smith rule, as you said.
Right.
And we reported, and I talked to other people who have been at high levels of interpreting and applying the rules, and it's like, no, that's not the rule. It can't be the rule. So that was how it got started.
Right, but Mike,
and
every player in football would do that if that was like the case. You don't think the players would have known that and went, whoa, if I step out of bounds, I can take my helmet off after every touchdown? You would see that after every touchdown. They know that's not the rule. Think about what you could do. Right.
You could have all 11 players line up just beyond the end zone. They could stand on the white stripe, and they could like a dance routine. They could remove their helmet one at a time and just go right down. You know, like we see when they kick and they kick, and it's like, oh, that's like, it's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
They could. Wouldn't that be awesome? Like the first guy takes the helmet off, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, and all the way down.
Right.
Yeah. So you could do that, But we had a moment where we're not sure what the hell you can and can't do. And I was just trying to find clarity so players know what the rules are and coaches know what the rules are. And that's where the NFL complicated it. Perry Fewell was on Monday Night Countdown, and he said that DJ Moore shouldn't have been flagged, that it was the other guys that committed the foul. The other guys had their helmet off, specifically Stephen Sullivan, number 84, in the field of play. It shouldn't have been Moore. It should have been Sullivan, which creates the implication and the impression that, hey, Terry McCauley's right. You get beyond the white stripe, you can take your helmet off. So that happened on Monday night. That was Halloween. I didn't notice it. I don't think anybody really noticed it. It didn't make much of a stir. When the NFL decided not to fine Moore, which only made it more confusing. They fined Sullivan, but not Moore. Why? And that's when, I think it was footballzebras.com, I found the article with the Perry Fewell comments. It's like, what are they doing here? What is going on? So I pestered the NFL for an explanation. Officially, they had no comment, which bothers me. Like, there needs to be a grown-up who will stand up and say, hey, sorry we created all this confusion.
Right.
Sorry our senior VP of football administration screwed everything up when he went on TV and failed to explain this. And sorry we added to it by fining one guy and not finding the guy who everyone believed was the culprit. The bottom line is you can't do it. But they haven't come out and said the way that they need to, full-throated with clarity, you can't take your helmet off when you're beyond the end zone. The rule applies beyond the end zone. You can't take your helmet off until you're back in the bench area, not part of a celebration. You're just taking your helmet off. So that's the rule. And I wish they would have said it. It shouldn't be for us to be the ones who say it, because there's going to be people who react to it saying, you know what the hell you're talking about. We don't believe it until the NFL says it. But if you do it, if you're a player or a coach and you're telling your players what the rules are, tell them keep the helmets on.
They know.
The NFL screwed this up, but you got to keep your helmet on.
The players know. They know that rule. We all know that rule. This is craziness. And then the NFL, not fining him and doing that because they don't want to admit mistakes. So then they're going to make two mistakes on top of that and then just hope it goes away. It's kind of what happened. I mean, it's
bright, shiny objects.
Next week, here we go.
Yep, here we go. There's another game. Game. They benefit from that so much.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking me about that the other day. Oh, all these scandals in the NFL. It's like, no, this is perfect. This is the time to have it happen during football season. Because while we're focused on that thing that makes the NFL look bad, here comes another game. Here comes a bright, shiny object. It's the same thing every year. And that's another reason to have games every night of the week. Could you imagine? We would never be able to delve into a full-blown NFL controversy if every day we were getting you ready for a standalone game.
No, you're right. I am hoping for
DJ
DJ Moore touchdown, take his helmet off in the back of the end zone tonight. I can tell you I'm hoping for that. I hope he scores a touchdown, steps out of bounds, takes his helmet off, and puts the NFL in a bind. And like, let's see what you got to do now.
They'll throw the flag.
Yeah.
They'll throw the flag.
Yep.
And they'll act like all that other stuff never happened, because the end result is you can't do it.
Yeah.
They created a mess. They didn't want to admit they created a mess. But forget about that. Bright, shiny object. New games are being played. All you need to know is you can't do it. And if you do it, you're most likely going to get flagged unless they screw it all up again. But they didn't. They threw the flag. The only thing they got right was they threw the flag. All the stuff in the aftermath created unnecessary confusion, starting with Terry McAuliffe's attempt to interpret it. And again, he does a great job, but he's wrong on this one. He's wrong. He's just flat out wrong. And if we can't say that somebody's wrong, if we're afraid to say that somebody's wrong about something, then what the hell are we here for?
Yeah.
I mean, we're here to tell everybody what's right. People make mistakes. I make mistakes. Holy crap.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.